I'm Claire and welcome back. Today we are going to carry on with our theme of basic ballet and learning the real foundations because I did that last week and I wanted to give you something to kind of reassure you for your first dance class. So I thought I'd let you know what to expect. So first of all, when you go anywhere to do something new, you want to feel comfortable. So I really recommend wearing something that you've worn before. Don't go out and buy leotard and tights and ballet shoes and all the gear before you even know whether you like it. Yes, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you'll love it. However, you want to just go there feeling comfortable, feeling like you, feeling normal. You don't want to go in somewhere feeling, oh my gosh, I feel naked, I feel really strange, this feels really uncomfortable. You don't want any of that, you just want to feel normal. So what I recommend is wear something comfortable in which you can move. Yeah, you want to be able to move your arms freely, you want to be able to move your legs freely, you want to be able to feel really comfortable. However, don't wear something so baggy that you could get your arms caught up or you could trip yourself up. That will be really not good. Yeah, you don't want to hurt yourself in your first ballet class. So I suggest wearing maybe leggings and a t-shirt or sweatshirt. Wear a couple of layers because sometimes dance studios sometimes they can be really warm, but sometimes they can be a bit cold to start with. So have a layer that you can wear on top that you can take off, especially at the moment because we're still using COVID prevention measures. So you might find some studios have got their air conditioning on or some kind of vent going on. So you might feel that it's surprisingly cooler than you would expect. I'd also suggest, and again, this isn't a rule, I would suggest having your hair off your face, okay? Having it all in your face, if you're dancing, it's going to flap in your face, it's going to get in your way, and you're going to be constantly moving it out of your face. And if you do get sweaty, it's going to get all like sticky around the back of your neck. You don't want that. So I'd just shove it up in a ponytail or something like that for your first ballet classes. So you feel like it's off your face, you're not having to worry about it. As you get more advanced, you might find you're doing things like spins and things when you'll definitely need it off your face and not flapping about, like not actually necessarily a bun, but kind of tied up so that you don't get wisps of hair flicking in your eyes when you're trying to turn, because that's not fun either. Anyway, we're still talking about beginners today. So something comfy in which you can move. Don't worry about ballet shoes if you don't have them. You definitely don't need point shoes. I suggest wearing socks for the bar, for movements where you're stood still but just moving your body up and down and in quite a static phase. I'd wear socks. When you get to the stage where you're travelling around, then maybe take the socks off depending on what the floor's like, depending on how slippery it feels. You can tell from yourself, if you're sort of walking around and thinking, ooh, I'm going to fall over, you know that you need to take those socks off. So once you get there, you've got your gear on, you've said hello to your dance teacher, and you've said hello, hopefully, to some of the other dancers. They're normally quite friendly people. I normally find I have to I don't like to stop people chatting because it's lovely that they're getting on, but I kind of have to say, right, shall we get cracking? Let's put the warm-up music on. So once everyone's got settled in, got themselves ready, I like to do a warm-up. Now it's a cardio warm-up as opposed to traditional ballet warm-up, which sounds quite intense and it really, really isn't. It's more like a move where you're sort of transferring your weight. You might do little runs on the spot, something just to get your heart rate up, which gets the blood flow going, gets your joints feeling a little bit more eased up, or eased out rather, and just makes you feel a little bit more relaxed and just that little bit warmer, so you're not feeling like a normal person quite so much. You're transitioning into that dancer person mode, okay? And so I'll do that. And if it's Silver Swans or my beginners ballet class, literally this can be just walking around the room, rubbing your hands, getting that movement going, getting that feeling of walking with the music as well, because sometimes some people find that quite hard when they haven't danced before. That can be quite a novelty. So once we've done our warm-up, that's when we do what we call the bar. The bar refers to a rail that's usually attached to the wall, or it might be freestanding. I tend to, if I'm teaching, I tend to use the wall as my bar, and it's spelled B-A-R-R-E. And you can, some places you might stack up a couple of chairs and use the back of the chair, okay? It entirely depends on where you're doing your class. If you're doing your class at home, you might want to get a chair and use the back of the chair. Kitchen surfaces, my kitchen's just over there, kitchen surfaces are really good to use as a bar, yeah, because they're just that height. You want it to be waist height, yeah, so basically, if it's waist height, then you're going to have your hand on that bar, nice and relaxed, not gripping on for dear life, because you're meant to be actually using your core, and it's just there for kind of psychological reassurance that you're not going to fall over, okay? And it is actually quite surprising how much it does give you that reassurance. So find yourself absolutely centered, and then you place your hand on the bar, making sure that your hand is slightly forward of your body and that your elbow should never go behind the seam of your top. Yeah, because you can imagine, can you see that looks automatically, imagine my bar here, that automatically looks a little bit awkward, whereas that's a little bit more relaxed, okay? Little tip. In everything, with every exercise in ballet, we do it on both sides. So if you are feeling, I can understand if you're going to your first class and you're feeling a little bit like, oh, I've not done this before, you want to put yourself at the back and hide at the back. However, if you put yourself at the back of the bar, we're going to turn around and you'll find yourself at the front. So little recommendation, I recommend putting yourself between two other people. Yeah, so you've got someone in front of you, and then when you turn around, you've still got someone in front of you, okay? Just a little tip, you don't have to do that, but I've seen it happen to so many people. They come in, they do the warm-up at the back, and then they get a little sneaky space at the back of the bar, and they do the first set of pliés. They're like, oh yeah, this is lovely, enjoying it, and then suddenly they turn around and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm on my own, I'm facing the front, and I've got no one to follow, okay? So put yourself between a couple of the dancers, kind of in the middle of the bar, and then you'll be sorted. At the end of the day, if it's a beginner's class, the teacher is likely to do it on both sides. So don't stress if you do find yourself at the back of the bar, because most beginner classes, the teacher will come round and they'll do it in front of you on the other side so you can follow them, okay? Having said that, once you get a little bit more confident, I really recommend, and this is a little tip from me, this is where ballet is a bit magic and it helps you work your brain. It's really good for your brains, because what we do is we set different exercises every day. So I'll set an exercise for the first set, we'll do that to music, and I'll usually set it and then I'll go over it. When I'm going over it, that's the time to pay attention and make sure it's in your head as well. And then you can do it for yourself without blindly following the teacher. Again, don't be worrying about that on your first class, but it's good to know, yes, for future, as you get more confident and stronger. It's really good to sort of test yourself and think, well, I'm not going to look at her, not going to look at her. And then you find you will, but you know, it's really good to try that mode, go into that mode of thinking for yourself and trying to remember the exercise for yourself. That's, I think, one of the big reasons that ballet in particular has been known to slow down the onset of Alzheimer's. Anyway, so we turn around, we do everything on both sides. So you'll do an exercise. Usually the first exercise is pliés. I'll just move my camera away a little bit so you can see a little bit more. So pliés, we'll do pliés where so the first exercise will be something like pliés, where you're just gently bending your knees and stretching and bending. Yeah, so you're just gently squeezing and stretching your knees, and then we turn around and we do it on the other side. You'll have a whole series of exercises, okay, which are all the exercises I went through last week. So the pliés, the tendus, the fondus, the développés, the grand battement. And again, you can work in an adult ballet class. No teacher is going to force you to go beyond your limits. Yeah, so you can work keeping your legs really nice and low if that works for you. If you've got tight legs, that's absolutely fine. If you've never done this before, you don't know how bendy you are. Yeah, so you can do it nice and low. You can keep one hand on your hip while you're dancing, yes? helps you focus on the other things rather than letting it just hang there and not really think about it. It puts it somewhere where it's tucked away, nice and safe, so you can focus on other areas, okay? You don't have to do things to a rise if it gets set to go on to a rise or something like that. So you can keep it nice and basic. And enjoy it. That's the most important thing. So once you've done your bar sequence, holding onto the rail, that's when we then either put the bars away or come into the centre. And that's where we do our more travelling type of sequences. This is where we kind of work in more three-dimensional movements, because you're travelling forwards and backwards and side to side, sometimes turning around and doing things like that, which can get quite confusing. So it's quite nice at the bar because you're always facing one way, then you'll turn around and face the other way. Then when you get in the centre, it starts to meander around a little bit, which is more fun but a little bit more complicated, but it's good for you. So you normally start with like a port de bras, which is where we move our arms. Yeah, so you're thinking port de bras means carriage of the arms. So you literally imagine your arms being carried, like you've got airbags under your arms and they're being lifted as you dance. Yeah, sometimes a lot of dance is about imagery, and if you imagine the right feeling of the movement, that will actually get you to use the correct muscles for that movement. So anyway, so we got your port de bras. Then you might repeat some of the exercises that you did at the bar. It may even be exactly the same exercise. Yeah, so not that they'll expect you to remember it, don't worry, but you might think, oh, this is familiar. Oh yes, we did it at the bar. So you might even repeat some of the exercises exactly the same as you did at the bar. And then you might start doing some little travelling movements or some little jumps, which is really good. It's obviously building up in strengthening work and things like that. So you're building up in complexity and also in the effort, that's the word I was looking for, the effort needed to actually perform that movement. So you'll start with little jumps. These might be just little bouncy jumps where you're concentrating more on the down aspect of the jump rather than the up in the air, and then you'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you might, if you're doing like a normal ballet class, you might get to grand allegro. Grand allegro means big and fast, so basically big leaps and jumps like that. And again, you can work within your limitations. I certainly, in my classes, I don't have any jumps as being compulsory because a lot of adults have issues with knees. I certainly have issues with knees some days. And, you know, I don't want anyone to come out of my class feeling, oh my gosh, I've actually just mashed my knees up. I'm not going to be able to move for a week. So if you can't jump that day, I'll give adaptations. You can do every exercise without jumping. In fact, in my Silver Swans classes, they're designed for people over 55. And so I generally don't have jumps at all in those classes, but we still do a beautiful ballet class. We still include lots of lovely ballet movements. So you don't have to limit yourself to, you know, not doing the class properly or feeling, oh, I can't do the class properly if you can't jump at the moment. And it might just be a case of building up strength, or it might be a case of like, actually, my knees have had enough that I don't want to injure them any further. You know, as we get older, sometimes that happens. And then at the end of your class, you'll generally have a cool down where you do a stretch. Now, some of you may have seen videos of people with their legs up on the bar and they're stretching their legs and they're going over. Generally, number one, putting your heel on the bar itself puts pressure on your Achilles. It's a big tendon at the back of your heel here. And it puts pressure on that. You don't want to put pressure on your Achilles. Yeah, so the jury's out, but the general recommendation is not to put your heel up on the bar and try and stretch that way, because especially if you are a bit tight, you might be forcing it, but also you might be putting pressure on that tendon, which you really don't want, okay? So I generally don't stretch at the end of the bar anyway, because you're about to go from doing exercises that have just built up all your strength, because every exercise that you do at the bar gets repeated in the centre. So if you've just built up all that lovely strength for the centre, and then you come just before that, you stretch your legs out so you're all languid and loose and lanky, then you're going to jump with muscles that have already been stretched, so they haven't got that fast twitch feeling going on. They're not in sprinter mode, they're in like adage mode, which yes, we will do, but at the same time, I generally leave my stretching to the end of the class. So once I've done with the entire class, I'm super hot and sweaty because I've just been jumping and leaping about. That's when I do my stretching. And I take it really easy. It might just be a case of sitting on the floor with your legs outstretched in front of you. That, for some people, is really hard, especially if you're wanting to keep your back up. Yeah, most people will round their back. So just sit like that with your hands like that, very gently. See if you can stretch your back with your feet, with your knees straight as well. And then if you can do that, then very gently keep those knees straight, lean forwards over your legs. So just very gently, you know where you can push yourself. So what you do is generally with stretching, you just go as far as you can, then just wait there for a little bit. And then you might find, oh, actually, I can go a bit further. And so you go a little bit further and then just wait there for a little bit and breathe out, relax. You might be able to go a little bit further. Only do that twice, but just very, very gentle stretching at the end of the class will help. Obviously, it's part of the cool down anyway, but it will help prevent the DOMS, which is short for delayed onset muscle soreness, which you can't prevent completely if you're doing something completely new, but you can help prevent it a little bit by doing a nice little stretch, basically stretching the muscles that you've just worked. So if you've done lots of jumps, you might want to stretch your calf muscles out, you might want to stretch your thigh muscles out, but again, do it gently within what you feel comfortable with. Okay, so that's roughly what you get, and then you get dressed, you have a chat, and you maybe go for a coffee with your new ballet friends. So that's generally what to expect in your ballet class, yeah? So I hope you enjoy your first ballet class. If you're in Rochester or anywhere near Rochester in Kent, please do drop me a line and you can come along and join my ballet class. It'd be lovely to have you there. If not, all my adult classes are available online as well, so you can join us live in our virtual dance studio via Zoom. And yeah, that's fantastic. And that way you get to interact, I get to see you and I get to help you out, and we all get to do the class together. If that doesn't work for you, don't worry, I still have another option. I have the Bridge Ballet Club. So if you go to bridgeballet.club, that will take you straight there. You can try a class first if you like, just to see what it's like. And if you like it, you can join up and join our monthly membership, which has a new class added every week. And you've already got, I can't remember how many classes are there already, you've got a whole pile of classes already. So you can enjoy those classes and then a new one gets added every single week. And yeah, hopefully you get to dance somehow with us. Okay, I'll see you later. Take care.